Welcome back. The UVM men's hockey team showed signs of improvement in 2024-25, even if the record was not quite what the Cats had hoped for.
Yeah, we caught up with Steve Wiedler to talk about the program's growth and path back to contention.
We had our problems this year, and I think they're very recognizable. Obviously, the ones that were internal for us and within our locker room, I'll keep to ourselves. I think that we'll have a new roster next year, and some of that'll be by our staff's doing, and some of that'll be by natural graduation. And I just think we'll be one step closer towards that identity.
Head coach Steve Wiedler pulling no punches when talking about the culture he and his staff are trying to build here in Burlington. The Cats coming off a season where the talent was evident and the chemistry followed at times, but it wasn't enough in a year where the Cats finished at the bottom of a brutally tough Hockey East.
We're close. We're which is really odd to say from last place, and I don't say it lightly, and it doesn't guarantee us anything. We have to take one more step in our program, and it's probably the hardest one. Is you play in this league that's so competitive and so tough nationally. How do you start turning some of those really close games that we lost into wins? That is the next step.
In order to do that, Vermont is going to look for continued progression from the core of a very strong freshman class. Guys like Colin Kessler, Max Strand, and Jack Wismer.
They're so tight as a class. Like, you mentioned the obvious ones with Max and Colin, and I think Wismer gets a lot of attention too for what he did. I don't think people talk as much about Blake Steenerson and Charlie Kinsman and Mikey LaStarza. But that group is really a unit. Like if you see them rolling around campus, they roll as a pack. I think they take it serious. I think they care about our logo, and I think that they care about our colors.
But they'll also need some of the older guys to step up and fill the void left by a large graduating class.
The easy one to talk about is Jens Richards, who had his great sophomore year and then didn't get the production he wanted this year. I expect Jenny, through his work ethic and his meeting was great, to take a step and get back to being the leader and the player that we know we can. I think Phil Tornquist could take another step. He took a big step for us. I think about that whole rising senior class. We call them internally the glue class. They want to leave this program in a better place than they got it, and I think they take ownership of that, and every one of their exit meetings said the same thing about them. So we'll see what they can do next year.
Wiedler says he and his staff feel great about the incoming freshmen, but he also says it's incumbent on the guys already here to get to work if they want to make 25-26 the year they start to turn the results around.
Well, I think understanding that it starts right now, and I think they know that already, so I don't have to elaborate too much on that, but just if you're kind of lollygagging your way through your training here, and you're not setting yourself up for success, you got to take it step by step. But the first step is on Monday to get back in that weight room and be a group.